So let's create this stab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Sylenth to do it. And again, why would I use Sylenth? It's because we can manipulate Sylenth the way we want. We can build Sylenth in exactly the sound we want to make. Instead of going through endless samples trying to find something cool, you can just make one. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my preset. Okay, so what I start with is I get this sound. So that you can't see the keyboard, but I'm playing the note of F. So I'm going to start with F. And let's talk a little bit about like riff patterns, okay? Let's have a listen to Martin. Martin goes, he's always pushing it. He does this. If we work on the scale of F, I'm going to put it onto 16th notes. He goes, he goes like two gaps, 2 beats in between. It's like, what am I playing there? That is something else. Yeah, Eli Brown. So it's like that. There's 2 beats in between, and then eventually it will catch up and repeat. It's like that. No, so it's like that. Goes for 2 bars. It's the simple Martin Akin riff, just like that. And it's what you call, it's like a polyrhythmic loop, because it's sort of, if you were to let that carry on, just going on and on and on, like leaving to, it would never, well, it catches up with itself eventually, but it keeps changing the loop. Let's play around with different sort of types of patterns for this then. So I'm just going to create a one bar loop for now. And let's just find, how I do this is I get the pattern first. I don't worry about the sound. I just want the groove and the rhythm to work first. Then I'll build the sound around it, okay? So I'm going to erase all these before I get too stuck in the groove. And let's try like sort of on the beat and then pushing off the beat like that. Or you can have another push there. Or there, like that. That's it, on the sort of dotted. And then you can maybe do a double there, like that. Fortunately, we can sort of replicate or make something vibey with Sylenth purely because we have 4 oscillators, part A and part B, to work with, which can all be detuned from each other, all right? Which means when you press one note, it will play a chord, all right? So let's build the chord first so we get something very cool, and then we'll shape the sound, okay? Now, let's build a chord, because what the Martin Akin is, and not only Martin Akin, but all of these records have, they have chords. It's not just one note. You can see this sounds pretty lame. That sounds terrible. We need to make this interesting. So how do we do this? Let's build a chord. Let's start by activating these oscillators here. Oscillator 1 is the only one that's playing right now because it says voices. Oscillator 2, or A2, isn't playing. So let's activate that. Let's turn this to a sawtooth wave, okay? Part B, let's do the same there. Let's activate it by turning up the voices. Wave, let's put, so we've now got 4 voices, but you'll hear they're all playing the same note. And they've just become louder as a consequence. So let's build this chord. Now, on the first oscillator here, maybe just move my chat over out of the way. So on the first oscillator, we'll leave that as the root note. That will play F because I've not changed the note. Let's try changing. Yeah, I think that we'll keep it there at 0. Okay, we might need to mess with the octaves here as well. Now the second note, if I move it up 7 semitones, let's look at our scale here. Now I've unfolded. Now 7 semitones from F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a perfect fifth. Okay. So that's what we've done there. We've added the perfect fifth into it. Open up Sylenth again. So now we've got this. That's the first part of our chord, okay? So the first thing that you'll note is that there's no filter on here. The filter is off. So let's set the filters up, okay? I'm gonna send both part A and part B through filter A. Let's attempt to do that. We're gonna do that by oscillators part A and B. I'm gonna go to part B and turn that to no input. So that's running now through filter A. All oscillators through filter A. So let's do our trick where we add some drive here, some resonance. Now, what we have to do, we're getting a bit of distortion here, so it's worth sort of turning down the volume of these oscillators a little bit. We can do it here, or we can turn them down sort of actually on the oscillators themselves, because I think we're getting a bit of distortion through the output. But let's go now to these oscillators again, and let's change all of the voices to 2 on all of them. And what that does, each time I press one note, it's playing 4 different oscillators, and it's playing 2 of each oscillator. So it's playing 2, 4, 6, 8 notes, 8 oscillators on one press. I'm going to try the low pass filter now and just see if that sounds. See, that's why we use the bandpass filter. We get more of a sort of in-your-face sound for this. So let's go ahead now and add some effects to this. First thing we want to use is saturation. It's a bit thin, so let's sort of saturate it. Now, saturation's really good. For those who know about saturation, it's your sort of secret weapon, really. It's a way of distorting a sound, which makes it sound fatter, and also, a bit more present in the mix. So let's try that. Now, when you drive saturation, it will turn it up. So you can use the output control to turn it down again. Brilliant. Let's make a chain. And what we can do with the delay, we can add reverb to the chain. We can add it after the delay. So what you get now, but what we have to do is we have to call this wet, and then we make a new chain called dry. And this one, we now need to set this at 100% wet. The reverb, we don't. And let's listen to this. Let's add this to here, and let's do some automation on it, just to give you some ideas of how why it's good to have a synth. Let's do that. Let's open up the decay, and we'll also open up the release as well. And also the filter cutoff here. That's the kind of very quick demonstration of why you would make a stab sound in Sylenth.